Dear Zimbabweland and Nigerian Network, my name is Vincent Liegey. I am been in Degrowth for almost 20 years. I am from France, even if I live and I'm talking to you now from Hungary in Budapest. You can see the night already came, the winter is coming. I'm very glad and honored today to share a few words with you about your great event, and I'm very happy that this conversation is happening there in Zimbabwe, in particular in connection with the issues around agriculture. I've been involved in degrowth with the two main hats. One is connected to agriculture, but I will start with the other one. I used to be one of the spokesperson of the degrowth movement in France. I am the coordinator, one of the coordinator of the support group for international degrowth conferences, which are taking place every second year all around the world, even if most of them or almost all of them happened in Europe, and we hope that one day one could happen somewhere in the Africas, and in particular in Zimbabwe. I am a member of International Degrowth Network, the network you invited to share a few words with you today, and I got the responsibility to do that with you. In general, I'm teaching in several universities, in particular Central European University in Vienna, in Austria, but several universities all around Europe. I teach degrowth and topics related to degrowth. I am a consultant working sometime with companies or cooperative, but more with political think tank and political parties, also with political institutions like the European Union, which is not easy, or municipalities like here in Budapest, where we have a green mayor. And when I'm not doing such things, I'm writing books, and I'm happy to share with you some of the books, like that one, Exploring Degrowth. You can look for it on internet and find a lot of articles and so on about it. But another one, and it's even better for you because it's open source and we've just published it. It's a book I coordinated with Anitra Nelson, called The Routledge Handbook of Degrowth, and it's around 35 chapters with different thematics around, and co-authored by 55 degrowth people. And this book is open source, open access, so you can have access to any kind of chapter and the whole book if you want, which is very important. So when I'm not dealing with this type of research and writing and teaching or speaking on degrowth all around Europe and so on, I am living here in Budapest, where I have the opportunity to coordinate a degrowth cooperative called Cargonomia. And in Cargonomia, we have, next to Budapest, 50 kilometers far from Budapest, a small agroecological farm where we grow vegetable in an intensive, organic, sustainable way. We have a small extension of the farm with permaculture and agroforestry, and also eco-construction, low-tech solution for different type of things. And here in Budapest, we have a bike shop and a cargo bike cooperative where we are constructing and using cargo bikes to deliver our veggies and different type of things. And all of that is a pretext, an opportunity to experiment degrowth in our daily life, to experiment conviviality, reciprocity economy, care economy, a lot of things I will present a bit after when I speak about degrowth. And also Cargonomia became a type of open university where we are hosting every year around a dozen of students who are coming here to spend from 4 to 6 months with a scholarship, where they can explore degrowth thematics while in their everyday life experimenting degrowth, with every week 2 days at the farm, 1 day caring about the logistic of the veggie and the cargo bikes, and 2 other days dealing with research projects or coordination or different type of activities around Cargonomias, in particular with our educational project partnership with schools, and also outreach, where we have a lot of activities in cooperation with like the local municipalities, NGOs, universities, where we organize a lot of workshop conferences. What you're doing today, and I think it's very important to have this type of platform to meet and to share good practices and ideas and so on. So I've been already very long introducing myself. I'm sorry for that. So again, I'm very happy to be with you today and to share some insight about degrowth. If I understood well, I was invited to share with you an introduction to degrowth and why is it important to bring degrowth in your context. First, I will answer both the questions together. So first, let me go back to history. Degrowth was born in 2002 in France. And it's very interesting because it was born when two groups of people met. On one hand, you had a group of activists who were against advertisement, adbuster activists in the city of Lyon, in the center of France. This group of activists were very interesting because they knew very well how advertisement is working. And I know that advertisement also is very aggressive in Africa, but advertisement is very aggressive everywhere. Advertisement is made by people who are very smart, people who know very well how a human brain is working, how psychology, social psychology, cognitive science, neuroscience, how it works, and they know how to manipulate our brain to desire things what we don't really need. And that's the main role of advertisement. And doing so, usually they also frustrate the people because somebody who's frustrated will always be looking for consuming more. And it creates a very basic condition of consumerist society. And it's a very fundamental pillar for a growth capitalistic model of society. So they wanted to alert about that, about the danger of this advertisement and how dangerous and toxic it is for our freedom, our autonomy, our free choices to what are our basic needs, what is very important in our life, and to try to orient it where business interests. Doing so, they started to be interested in environmental issues. In the beginning of the 2000s, we started to speak very slowly and carefully about climate change. We spoke about a bit also about peak oil and peak everything. And they started to discover some literature from the 1970s around the Meadows Report, Limits to Growth, but even more around Nicolas Georgescu-Roegen, who was a Romanian origin economist who spent a part of his life in the United States and who wrote very fundamental academic papers in the 1970s about the anthropology and the economic process. To simplify and not to go into too much detail, because I'm an engineer for my background, so I know very much and I'm very enthusiastic about speaking about entropy and the second law of thermodynamics, but I won't do it now. Georgescu-Roegen just assume from a physical point of view that the economic processes are happening on this very planet called the Earth, which is the only ecosystem we know where human life is possible. And they are happening under the physics laws, and the economic models what are taught and were taught at the time are still taught in universities nowadays are not assuming that. They are living in denial of this reality, and they believe that the infinite growth on a finite planet is possible, which is a lie, which is an imposture. So they somehow discovered the basics of décroissance and degrowth, and they understood that you need to have a type of provocative slogan, a type of word to bring this debate in the society. And doing so, they wanted to attack strongly what are the center of this, what is the DNA of the model of society we are living in, which is growth, which is maybe the religion of growth. Also, they had the motivation to use a word to attack growth in order not to be co-opted by the dominant system. They knew very well, dealing with advertisement, that as soon as an idea starts to be well accepted by a society, start to be sympathetic by the society, or people are enthusiastic about a new concept or new ideas and so on, they know very well that the dominant political system and marketing system for big corporation and so on will co-opt it, will empty it from its content to still sell the same type of product. It's what happened in the last 2 decades with sustainable development and a lot of other beautiful slogans and concepts, which was first initiated by very sincere and very serious people, but one after the other one, it's been betrayed. And degrowth is the only one because it has this very negative provocation dimension from a growth religious point of view, which was not co-opted yet. So they decided to use this word décroissance in French, which was later translated into English by degrowth, in order not to be co-opted and in order to put the debate and the understanding of the key problem on growth for growth, which is not possible. Parallelly to that, they met a second group of people around the notion and the concept of post-development. In the same time, in 2002, February 2002, took place in Paris at the UNESCO a very large conference under the name Deconstruct Development, Rebuild the World. And what is very interesting, and that's the point I really want to share with you today, what is very interesting, that in this group of people, there were a lot of people coming from Global South who strongly criticized development, and I will explain why, who started to cooperate with people coming from Global North, who traveled to Global South, in particular Serge Latouche, who was one of the father of degrowth, who was sent to different countries like in Southeast Asia or in Africa to bring development. And very soon, Serge Latouche understood the critiques made by the Global South people like Majid Ranema, Escobar, Aminata Traoré, to quote just a few names, mention just a few names. These people very soon understood that development is a colonialist, imperialistic type of word implemented after the Second World War to keep on going with colonial dynamics. It's not only about colonial dynamics in terms of stealing the resources and exploiting the people, which is what happened in the last decades, and that's how the Global North could, in illusion, develop so much, because it's got a very strong, violently implemented assistance and support from Global South. It's not only that there is this colonial dimension, but as Aminata Traoré said, the former Minister of Culture of Mali, in a book called The Rape of Imaginary, development also bring a type of colonial narrative, which is really killing the local wherever you are. So for Zimbabwe, would be the Zimbabwe culture, the local know-hows, the local culture, the local traditions, under which your societies have been living very well for centuries, and which been killed and demonized by the narrative of development through these post-colonial dynamics. And both met and both agreed to criticize sustainable development, which is an oxymoron, and which brings on it this colonial dimension of development, and entered into degrowth. So from this perspective, I really believe that degrowth was somehow born in Global South to tell to the Global North, please stop your religion of growth, because infinite growth on a finite planet is not possible, because this model of society has been implemented in the very expensive price of colonization based on resources coming from Global South, based on the exploitation of people of Global South, and even more, while killing some self-esteem, some pride, some cultures and traditions in Global South, which are, I think, very important nowadays in the conversation we should have to find solution toward the self-destruction of the planet. What growth model of society through capitalism, consumerism, productivism, technoscientism, and so on is bringing. So that's how degrowth started. I think the links with Global South are very important for degrowth. Degrowth is for the Global North. Global North should decrease radically its level of input, its level of consumption, its way of life, in order to go under the environmental boundaries, and there is a big effort to do for that, to allow Global South, in the logic of delinking, which is a Samir Amin concept, also you find in degrowth, which is also coming from the alter globalist movement. So delinking, which means to free Global South countries from the dependency the Global North has on its resources and so on, toward the implementation of self-determination in all around the planet. So I wish you very good conference. I hope this introduction word is helpful for the quality of the discussion you have. And again, you can refer to this book and among a lot of other books. That one is open access, and also all our websites like degrowth.info, degrowth.net, where you can find even more information about degrowth and related topics, and where this Global North and Global South dialogue is very important. Last but not least, in 2027, we will have our next International Degrowth Conference in Cork, in Ireland, and I hope, and we will be working on organizing good economic conditions to be as inclusive as possible. I hope some of you, or most of you, could join us and bring the good result of the conversation we have today. Thank you very much. Keep in touch. Feel free to contact me, to contact us, and have a good day.